Okay, so that's enough with price. Let's get into the really good stuff, which is our on-chain side. What I'm going to look at here is just a snapshot or a way to think about exchanges, because the Bitcoin landscape, strangely enough, is starting to evolve, and this is partly to do with inscriptions. So I've got two traces here. One is the number of deposit transactions, not volume, just the number of transactions depositing to exchanges on the left and withdrawing on the right. We are actually just going to focus on the deposits just to simplify everything. We can see that the number of deposits has been declining. Now, in a bear market, this actually makes sense, right? We get a bit of an uptick during panic events like FTX and when we get a bit of a recovery rally, but you can see a fairly sustained over a 2-year period decline. And actually, we've seen a significant decline in deposits recently. Now, we can see similar things on our withdrawals. Suffice to say that generally speaking, withdrawals and deposits, inflows and outflows tend to move fairly in tandem. So we can often look at those things fairly similar in a fairly similar light. But the question is, are we actually seeing a decline in deposits? Right? Are we actually seeing the amount of deposits declining because people are depositing less, or is there some other mechanism? Now, this chart may be a little bit tough to get your head around initially, but Bitcoin block space has been full for the vast majority of this year, and this is largely to do with inscriptions. So just consider this. Each Bitcoin block has a limited amount of data that we can fit into it. Now, that can either be traditional monetary transactions, which includes deposits, or it can be more recently inscriptions. So essentially, whoever's paying the highest fee and is able to fit into that block, but the miners are putting these blocks together, they essentially get included. So the question is, are we actually seeing deposits declining, or are deposits simply not willing to pay a high enough fee to outcompete inscriptions? So because there is a constrained space, it is a bidding war, and it's essentially whoever's willing to pay the highest. So the orange trace here is the dominance, right? So of all transactions, with no filtering applied whatsoever, of all the transactions confirmed on a daily basis, what is the dominance of deposits to exchanges? And we can see a significant decline, really. And this aligns with the first emergence of BRC20 in terms of inscription. So lots and lots of text-based inscriptions. We covered this back then and a couple of episodes since. And on that basis, absolutely, yes, deposit transactions are only accounting for about 11% when they used to account for about 23%. So yes, by that logic, it has. But then the question is, okay, well, how much if we filter out all of the inscriptions and we only look at monetary transactions? So let's basically filter out those inscriptions and just look at monetary transfers. What is the dominance by that metric? And that is what the blue curve is showing. And you can see we have in fact seen a bit of a decline. That's down to about 12%, coming down off about 24, 25, 26%. So we are in fact seeing a decline in overall exchange deposit activity.